was possible, but not definite. By no means definite. Hadn't those been his exact words? The exaggeration had been necessary initially. Now it was time to back off. The trick, as with all cases like this, was to hang crepe, to stress the dangers inherent in the surgery and lower the patient's expectations to the point where even a marginally successful operation would be welcomed as the work of a genius. The man had seemed reasonably easygoing and understanding enough at their first meeting, yet he was sharp, too. That much was certain. But so was Sylvan Mays. Until Mays had the chance to study the MRIs, he had refused to talk in anything but generalities. Today, though, they would have to get down to business, to go over the specific anatomical challenges and potential surgical stumbling blocks inherent in Wilson's case. First, it would be necessary to dispel Wilson's belief that the only way to reach his tumor was by means of a robot. May's musings were interrupted by Sandy, his gal Friday's voice over the intercom announcing Wilson's arrival. Mays positioned himself behind his desk, on which lay Wilson's file. He took a deep, calming breath and asked Sandy to send Wilson in. "Okay, Sylvan," he thought, "it's showtime." Frederick Wilson limped into the office, a cane in his right hand and an elegant black leather briefcase in his left. He set the briefcase down, shook May's hand enthusiastically, and lowered himself into one of the two mahogany chairs on the patient's side of the desk. He was dressed as he had been on his first visit to the office, dark suit, conservative tie, white shirt. His thick gray hair was brushed straight back, and his beard and mustache, equally gray, were neatly trimmed. "You've verified the deposit?" Wilson asked, in a modest accent that Mays had decided was probably German or Russian. "Barclays Bank, Grand Cayman, in my name, yes, I have. There will be no tax problems that way for either of us." Eccentric, mysterious, clearly a man of wealth and breeding, yet with no health insurance, electronic cash transfers only. "So," Wilson continued, "I have offered money for a service and you have agreed to provide it. I have given you a down payment for that service and you have accepted. I think it's time to talk about expectations." "Yes, I think at this point that's quite appropriate." May straightened himself in his chair. Now was the time to begin to paint the picture of guarded pessimism. But before the surgeon could say another word, Wilson began speaking. "Given the benign nature of my tumor, and the magnificent qualifications, experience, and skill you have described, I expect nothing less than a complete cure. Is that quite clear?" Mays felt a sudden chill. I expect an excellent result, of course, but I can't make those sorts of promises. No surgeon can." "You've told me that you are the best in the world at this sort of surgery. You told me that your robotic system was capable of bypassing the usual route from my skull to the tumor. I said it was potentially capable of that, yes, but I also said our robotics project was still in the experimental stage. Dr. Mays, please listen carefully. I have not paid you $250,000 to debate this point. I expect you to perform the way you promised me you can. To guarantee that I get your best work, my people are currently observing your wife and daughter. When the day of my surgery arrives, they will be entertaining your family at the place of my choosing until I am safely out of danger, and your radiologist, as well as one of my choosing, has reviewed my MRI films. When I know I am safe, unharmed, and free of tumor, your wife and daughter will be returned to you." Mays felt as if he were being strangled. There was nothing in Wilson's manner or expression that suggested flexibility. The man must be insane. I can't agree to this," he finally managed. "No surgeon can. The terms are non-negotiable, Dr. Mays." The shirt beneath Mays' armpits was soaked. He felt as if his bowels might let loose at any moment. "I refuse," he managed with a forced bluster. "Go find yourself another surgeon. There are plenty of them as qualified as I am." "That is not what you told me at our first meeting." All right, there are only a few."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.